National Youth Council. They don't need to get a letter from the Ministry of Education because it's government to government. But we do not take advantage of the institutions that exist within government for young people, and that is where we miss. And that's why the Youth Charter remains a document in paper. It has not been brought alive by the various stakeholders who need to bring it alive.
All right, but let's go back to the social aspect, like I mentioned. There's always a talk, and it will always be there. And I think it's just, you know, the aspect of age that when older people are guiding young people, they have the experience. They've gone through paths that you haven't gone through or I haven't gone through. So there's the guidance. And I've seen a lot of, you know, older people and people in leadership saying, listen, you guys do not know this path. This is what we want to do. But different leaders in different generations were able to do things. That's why, and they were young. Yep. And that's why, you know, they are who they are. We revere them in history. We revere them in the country. What is your perspective on the same?
I think that it's very important that experience cannot be thrown out of the window. It's important that we understand the importance of intergenerational dialogues, bringing together the minds of today and the immediate minds. And the immediate minds have a wealth of experience on how to go through things. It's like the relationship between, let's say, Kenya and the United States. The United States has a democracy that has existed for over 200 and maybe 50 years. And they are a democracy we look up to as a country that is 60 years. In the League of Nations, Kenya is like a Gen Z in terms of democracy. It's only 60 years. It has only had about 5 presidents, and the US has over 40 presidents. And so we don't ignore the steps they have taken. What we only need to capture is that we don't need to make the mistakes they made. It's like a firstborn and a secondborn. All of you need to work together to bring your minds together so that you can able to leapfrog and realize the goals of your generation. I think this generation has all the means, the intentions and the purposes. It has the similar ideals of the young people of the 1960s, the 1950s, those who wanted change and wanted change now, and they had to actualize it, not forgetting that they had been colonized for over 40 years, since colonialism began in the 1920s for Kenya, only to gain independence in 1963, which is 40 years later. So they underwent so many difficult times for them to realize that enough is enough. And Kenya is going through the same things now. And I think the last protest that was of this magnitude was maybe, in my view, was the 1992 protest that the whole country was adamant at repealing Section 2A of the Constitution. Now that is happening 30 years later when the country is more geared towards a more policy, a more leaderless, a more tribeless kind of conversation. And this is something that, that we need to welcome. The old do not have to fear the young. I mean, we are a generation that needs to work together. At the same time, we are the owners of this country, whether presently or those who own it presently and in the future. So an intergenerational dialogue is very important. And the older generation does not have to fear the younger generation. The younger generation has something the older generation do not have. And the older generation have something that the younger ones do not have. When I see the Gen Zs trying to get their space in the political environment, as a political student, science student, I see the hurdles that can come in politics. And we've seen that with Gen Zs. They fight among themselves as leaders. Sometimes they forget that the enemy is one and they start fighting amongst themselves. And then we get so angry and we're like, guys, we can see your goal, we can see your intention and purpose. Please stop losing focus. And losing focus is something that can happen very easily to someone who is 19, 20, 21, because you know, you can get excited at the moment, and you know, we've lost focus. Even the older generation knows how very quick it is to lose focus at that level. You can easily be lied to. Money can be shown to you, and then you can think or look the other way. But now this is where the older generation comes in, making sure that Gen Zs do not lose focus, that we do not lose focus in the goal and the quest that we have for this nation, because it is so important, so dire. Already we have young people who have already died because of that fight. Let us not forget why they died. And even as we go into the new month of October and we have the great Mashujaa Day, these are heroes that we need to celebrate, and we need to do things that are more meaningful in terms of ensuring that the ideals and the ideals that they represented are broadcasted on that day.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, Angel, now that you've mentioned that, I just want to read a couple of feedback on X, or the from X. From the question of our day, let me just remind you, it's we asked you rather, has the current government lived up to its promises for the youth? What's your take on the youth agenda so far? And you could share your thoughts, which you have. So on X, Alembi 57 says, what they have achieved is to kill the youth economically and literally. And Kijana Yamurima says, what they have kept is matters dealing with killing young people. Again, Madani Wakaboy says, no, it hasn't. The government has not invested enough resources in areas that promote youth empowerment and employment, including sports, creative economy. Corruption is stealing the future of the youth. All right. Thank you so much for your responses. So, Angel, what would be your final, perspective on this as we wind up the conversation? How can we have policies? We have too many of those policies, and there's a constant joke. I even say in other conversations that the policies are made here on earth and enacted in heaven, because they just don't seem to, get the enactment that they need. So what is the solution here? What can be done?
I think Kenyans need not to lose focus. I think we started on a proper trajectory of speaking truth to power, and we need to continue doing just that. And I think Kenyans are today wiser than ever before. I call this a new Kenya because I have seen a new Kenya in terms of the mindsets of Kenyans. We have a totally different orientation than we had, let's say, 10, 20 years ago. And we need to keep going at it. We need to call on everyone, our members of parliament, let them not be bought for mediocre conversations as they begin their House sittings today. Let them not be swayed by political conversations that are not beneficial to the country. May they constantly remember what Wanjiko is feeling and that we are watching. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Angel. I appreciate you coming today and giving us your perspective once again on the youth agenda and so far how the government, Kenya Kwanza government rather, has performed on that matter. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Remy.
Right. Thank you so much for watching Morning Vibe. My name is Remmy Majala. Thank you for your feedback and participation in this conversation. We'll see you again tomorrow where we discuss matters health. Right. So do have a lovely day. Thank you. Right.
DJ Blackie, K24 TV, Mix Master.
Leoni finish tomorrow.
Like a boss.
Antaka this, antaka that.